Marriage is one of the most beautiful experiences, but it's also one of the most revealing ones. It shows you your area of strength and weaknesses. It highlights your blind spots. It even shows you areas that you didn't know needed healing. It's like somebody holding up a mirror to you and showing you areas that you need to improve. As a coach that works with divorced women, single moms, and women going through a phase of transition, I have realized that there are certain things that we were never taught and didn't even know about marriage that ends up breaking the connection between two people. Not because they didn't love each other, but because they didn't even know any better. In today's video, I'm sharing 7 things not to do in your marriage. Things I wish more women knew before things fall apart. Point 1. Don't be in a hurry to report your spouse to your family. Your family loves you. So at the end of the day, when you're venting to them, it creates an image about your spouse in their mind. And you might forget, you might forgive your spouse, but your family never forgets. It's at the back of their mind. They remember everything you told them, and it's already beginning to affect how they view your marriage, how they view your spouse. You have to protect your marriage from outside emotions. I'm not saying you can't talk to your siblings or your family about certain things, but it's not every argument, every fight you want to rush to go and tell your family. You need to learn how to vent wisely in your marriage to protect the peace and the emotions in your relationship. Number 2, don't expect mind reading. Your spouse is not a mind reader. No, he is not God. He is not psychic. He can't read your mind. He can't tell what you're thinking, what you need. You have to open your mouth and communicate that. I was guilty of this. Always like, oh, you should know. Can't you see? This is common sense. No, it's not. There's nothing common about common sense. If somebody didn't even grow up with you, you don't have the same values, you don't have the same upbringing. How can you expect to think the same way? How can you expect them to already know? You're still getting to know each other. And for the rest of your life, you still continue to get to discover new things about your partner. So how do you expect them to automatically know what you're thinking, what you want, what you need? Open your mouth and ask for what you want. They can't read your mind. They don't know what you need. Don't make any assumptions. No assumptions. Have a conversation about what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you need. Don't expect your spouse to be a mind reader. That is a mistake that a lot of us make in marriages. And as a result, we put so much pressure on the other person and expect and have so much high expectations. Expectations that were never communicated. At the end of the day, when you have an expectation that was not communicated, you are bound to be disappointed. So to take away disappointment from this equation, open your mouth and talk. Number 3, don't stop dating after you say I do. A lot of married couples are guilty of this. The minute they get married, they forget that, oh, they were dating before getting married. When they were courting, there was romance, there was intentional romance that was planned into the relationship. All of a sudden, now you're married, you think there's no need for romance. No, 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 no. In fact, that is when the fire of romance should be burning more. Plan intentional dates. Remember to give each other hugs, put surprises, notes in their pocket, call during the day, send a message, check up on the person. Just plan things. Do things to keep the romance alive. You can't stop dating just because you're married. And most people are guilty of it. And women, the minute we start having children, it's a wrap. Once we start having children, all our attention, everything is in the children. And there's nothing wrong with this, but you cannot, in the process of taking care of the children, ignore your partner. They're a human being. They want to feel loved. They also want to feel like they're part of the family, part of the relationship. All our attention cannot only be on the children. So remember to keep the fire of romance burning. Just because you're married doesn't mean you stop having feelings or your spouse stops having feelings. So be intentional about your romance in your marriage. Number four, do not compare your marriage to others. We are also all guilty of this. You see something online that was curated, you think it is reality. You know, when I used to work, there was someone at my office that used to buy herself flowers. We all thought that it was her husband that was buying the flowers, and we are like, "Oh, this is so cute! Oh, how I wish my own husband or my own boyfriend was this intentional about, showing affection and love." People were comparing themselves to her husband, only for us to find out later on that she was the one that was buying herself flowers on Valentine's Day. Then she'll put the husband's name like it came from him. Or she'll buy herself on her birthday, she'll send flowers to the office and we'll think it's from her husband. But it wasn't. It was just a show. And not to say there's anything wrong with her buying herself flowers, but she gave the impression that it was coming from her husband. And then people were comparing her marriage to theirs, not knowing that everything was curated. So I say that to say you don't know what is going on in another person's house. You don't know what's going on in another person's home. Just because they come out and they're lovey dovey, is opening the door, closing the door, like, oh, how I wish my husband was more like this. You do not know what is happening in their homes. You can't make any assumptions. So do not compare your marriage to another person's own. In fact, the people that have the happiest of marriages sometimes are the ones that you don't even know what's going on or they're very quiet about it. But people that come online every day and said, "Oh, for my birthday he flew me to Paris. Oh, for my birthday he bought me Gucci and all the designers in the world," and then they spread it on the bed and take pictures. We don't know if he slapped her before the pictures that we're seeing. We don't know what, and maybe he did not, maybe that's genuine, but still you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. So you cannot use another person's relationship to compare your own. This is a very big point. Women, I know we're fond of doing that. So please do not compare your marriage to another person's own. Comparison doesn't even give you the room to be grateful for what you have, and it is the thief of joy. When you start comparing yourself to another person, you're not able to even enjoy what you have that's right in front of you. So stop comparing your marriage to another person's own. Number five, do not use affection or silent treatment as a punishment. I know personally, my days where I was very immature, I am guilty or I was guilty of this. And because I grew up in a household where my father withdrew love and, gave silent treatment anytime he was upset with you. And that was the learned behavior I learned into becoming an adult. It wasn't healthy at all. In fact, it was very immature. I had to go through my own healing journey and do all the work to even be aware of this. But you cannot use silent treatment as a way of, punishment. You have to communicate. Again, I'm repeating, communication cannot be overemphasized. Say what you're feeling, talk about it. Even silent treatment is immature, even in friendship. Some parents, yeah, my parents did it. I was about to say some parents do it with their children, and you're teaching bad behavior, or you're teaching poor communication skills to your kids if you do this as a parent. Or and in your relationship with your spouse, you cannot be giving them silent treatment when you can open your mouth and talk and have a conversation like mature individuals about what exactly is on your mind or what is bothering you or what you want them to understand. When you do silent treatment, it doesn't create closeness between you and your spouse, as even it creates distance and disconnect. But if you're to have a conversation about whatever is on your mind or what's bothering you, that is when you create closeness and connection. So if you're doing this, stop doing this. It doesn't help your marriage. Instead, it's hurting your marriage. Number six, do not lose your identity. I know I mentioned this as one of the things I wish I knew before getting married. Don't lose your identity just because you are married. Again, you were a whole human being before you got married. And marriage is supposed to help you to shine, not to shrink you. It's supposed to, help your light shine, not dim your light. And we women are guilty of this, that the minute we get married, we start shrinking and becoming a shadow of ourselves. And in so doing, sometimes that's even a turn off for your partner in the long run. You don't want to lose yourself just because you're married. And marriage is supposed to bring out the best in you. You're supposed to bring out the best in each other. And losing yourself, dimming your light is not you bringing out your best. So don't make this mistake when you are married to lose yourself, because it starts to show in other areas of your life, and it affects your relationship in the long run because you are not your full self. And a lot of times you end up projecting your frustrations, your hurt, your loss of self to your partner, and that ends up hurting your marriage. So don't lose yourself. You're a human being before you got married. You have dreams, you have aspirations, you have your goals. Don't lose sight of that just because you're married. The last but not the least point, don't let pride stop you from apologizing. At the end of the day, you know, just because you're apologizing doesn't mean you are weak. Sometimes you're just protecting your peace, and instead of the issue being a small issue where you can resolve just from your apology, it becomes a huge fracture, and then next thing is going bigger and bigger into an issue you shouldn't even have turned into in the first place. Apologizing doesn't take anything from you. Now, I'm not saying, oh, just apologize. So if you're wrong, you apologize. Sometimes when you are not even wrong, you apologize. And when you do that, it makes the person open up to even want to hear what you have to say. That's if he's a reasonable person. If your partner is a reasonable person, they might say, oh, okay, this person is apologizing, even though I think in this case I'm the one that is wrong. Then they're more open to even listen to you or hear what you have to say. Or even if you're wrong, apologize. Some people don't even know how to apologize when they are wrong, which I don't know how you can survive a marriage when to apologize is so hard for you. Don't let pride come in your way of having a beautiful marriage, because it's either you are right, or is either you want to be right or you want to be loved, like I always say. So if you are if you are wrong and then you are finding it hard to apologize, it's either you are holding on to that apology as your spouse, or you want to hold on to your spouse and let go of apologizing. You have to pick your poison, whichever way. So don't let pride come in the way of you having a beautiful marriage. It's not worth it. Remember, marriage isn't about perfection. Like I always say, marriage is two people coming together and staying committed to one another. Marriage should be two people trying to outlove each other. If we're both trying to outlove, if each person is trying to outlove the other person, then all the points I listed is going to seem very small to you, because your goal is to love the other person. Your goal is to bring out the best in the other person. Your goal is to support the other person, and any other thing that's going to come in the way of you achieving that are things that you're not willing to compromise on. So marriage, again, is not perfection. It's two people committed to each other, making the effort to make it work.